each individual by God. It was not something that could be parceled out to groups. Freedom couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Now, armed with these freedoms, and point of fact, only because they had them, this ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government, and there are many, to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, with that essential preamble dealt with, we can gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all as we move forward in this world. And somebody pointing out Democrats win Republican district in Texas. It was a state Senate seat. And it was, there's always local factors, but that's got to be, well, it is. It's disturbing. It's eye-opening. Like, wow. People are stupid. Voters are idiotic. We see it over and over again. I mean, can you imagine this? But again, I don't know the candidates. It was a man who beat a woman. Was there mistakes made during? I don't know enough about the race to say that this was a trend. But I will tell you this. I'm watching people who wanted immigration dealt with, and they don't pay attention or they're soft-headed, and they fall for the media left-wing lunatic narratives. Now, we have this jackass that's going to be, what's his name, Bunny? It's just beyond comprehension. Anyway, this idiot at the Grammys last night, I did not watch. Cutie told me it was said. I'm watching a show called Industry, which is pretty good. Anyway, well, something about ice, I don't know. Ice out. Yeah, ice out instead of peace out. Yeah. Oh, you're so clever. You're so clever, but you're living your life based on a lie. Based on a pile of lies. And people do this. By the way, the race in Texas was a blowout for the Democrat. It wasn't a close race where you'd say, oh, well, it was a blowout. So taking aside candidate quality, all those kinds of things, it should be concerning for the people in Texas. I don't know if it should be concerning for the rest of us, but polls show that people want the illegals out. Yet they let the media lies upset them about how we're going about that. Now, if they don't allow you to go into the prisons, where one or two agents could simply walk someone out, and you've got to do it on the street, you got to do it with a gang. You got to do it fully armed. So, again, the left, the Democrats, causing chaos, causing problems that they then blame on the other side. Robin, FHL, sent me a clip. I'm not going to play it, but it was a guy saying, how come when they block roads, get in law enforcement officers' face, obstruct their movement, they're called peaceful protesters, but if someone shows up at one of these riots with a camera and a microphone, and they're conservative or they wear a MAGA hat, they are agitators. How about that? Fascinating. But anyway, the context that somebody reminded me of this Democrat win in the Republican district in Texas. See you in November, Bobby. Well, you're an idiot. Like, you actually want, somebody else says, face it, Bob, that election in Texas is the shape of things to come. Well, I lament, not for me. I'm fine. I'm going to be 65 years old this month. I could ride it out no matter what happens. I'm worried about my grandchildren. See, you don't care about anybody but your stupidity and your ideology. So there's something wrong with you, sad to say, and you should just go look in the mirror for a little while and say, why am I living on lies? Why do lies appeal to me so much that I not only believe them, but I vote based on them? I speak based on them. Amazing. One of the drones says, "You're killing Americans for heaven's sake." Oh, God almighty. You're a liar. You're living a lie. What's the matter with you? The illegal aliens are killing Americans, you stupid ninny. Really, this kind of stupidity, there's no justification for it. None. But you get excited because a Democrat wins? What does that do for you? Except degrade your country. It's sad. My man Nicky D sent me something. I'm tired of people saying police officers need more training. You had 18 years to train your child not to steal, shoot, stab, burn buildings, flip cars, block traffic, and attack other people. Police didn't fail you. You failed your child. We'll be back. Fats Domino. Murph says this date, 1957. He performed his hit Blueberry Hill on the Perry Como Show on NBC. And before that, Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1954. He announced the detonation of the world's first hydrogen bomb. Wow. A simpler age, but a dangerous one, right? A very dangerous age. And you know, whenever we play Blueberry Hill, we've got to play Vladimir Putin's version. You almost want to say he can't be all bad. All right, that's enough of Putin. My goshes. Hey, Bulldog, so yesterday was the Jessup Groundhog Day. And you made your way there or near there. He's got a problem with his leg, so he didn't quite get to the festivities or to see it. But he was there, and the surrounding, it looked like they had a good crowd. Well, we don't need to go into every single detail here, Bulldog. It was crowded, right? Okay. And the ferret came out. Now, the funny part, I saw the official hat that our guy, Alex Picardo, the official ceremonial timekeeper, which he put that. Did you get to see the hat? The actual hat, Bulldog? All right, just on Facebook or whatever. All right, so Alex made that hat. It was beautiful. Anyway, Founding Father Alex Picardo crafted this beautiful top hat. Now, what was the end result? We don't need to get into details, but what was the end result? Early spring. And we're immediately rewarded with another frigid week, and I heard Joe Snedeker on the morning news, a freezing weekend. That's why we have Tina Morocco on, because she's a global sales advisor at Premier Sotheby's International, and she's headquartered in Southwest Florida in Naples and serves that entire region. And we want to give you the alternative. You just might want to have a place in Florida if you can. You know I can't. That's okay. But some of you might be able to swing it. We don't want you moving away completely, because even Tina and her husband Don come home, but they spend the majority of their time in Florida now, in that gorgeous weather and the gorgeous place, Southwest Florida. So we'll be talking to her a little bit later today. Well, that's good, Bulldog. So you got there. Limited. They didn't have handicap accessibility, or what was the problem here? No, how did you not get there? So why didn't you leave earlier? Well, we put it on the show. Once we put it on the show, you know it's going to be crowded. The leg. We say in Dunmore, we say the leg. This is why we can't ask the Bulldog a question. We get there, we get to the end result via Europe. Dear Lord. So it was a successful event, which, that would have been fine. It was a successful event. I didn't get to see the actual pulling out of did you go even inspect Where did they pull the ferret out of? At a little house? Oh, like a pet carrier. And then they pulled it out of the pet carrier. All right, so it's not like Gobbler's Knob with... And is that today? Is Groundhog Day today? Oh, they did it, and what happened there, if you know? So the Jesupians... Oh, by the way, we forgot this on Friday. What's the name of the little critter in Jessup? I just love that. Jessup Giuseppe. So it's Jessup Giuseppe head-on-head with Punxsutawney Phil. And we'll see who's right, I guess, in the next 6 weeks. All right, well, I told you about the jokes, Bulldog, and the puns. All right, so we got Jessup Giuseppe head-on-head with a conflicting weather report versus Punxsutawney Phil. I'm going to bet on Jessup Giuseppe. I really am. All right. We have to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. Then we'll come back. We'll do the Veterans Tribute. We've got the weather and then more. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our veterans tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our man John Basiliga. Today, featuring his first company, his biggest company, Eastern Roofing Systems. They are the premier roofing contractor for industrial, commercial, and institutional purposes on the eastern seaboard of this great country, the United States. And guess what? They take all that expertise, all that buying power, and they will do your roof at your home or your small building right here because they're headquartered in Jessup. Eastern Roofing Systems. Check them out. Joseph Albiero. He was from Einan. We lost him January 14th. His wife was his high school sweetheart, the former Lorraine Bianchi. He lost her back in 2013. They'd been married 58 years when she passed. Born in Einan, graduating from high school, he joined the United States Marine Corps and attained the rank of Staff Sergeant. Man, I would have loved to meet this guy. He's survived by his children, grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. They provided laughter and life. Nieces, nephews, all of that. He spent his time providing for his family with nourishment in mind and body. He protected us with shelter, made safe by his own hands. He was kind and accepting of others. His love was shown in his deeds. He was a loving husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, brother, and friend. Joseph Albiero. Edward Ned O'Malley. He was 86 when we lost him January 16th. He was from Tunkhannock. He had Parkinson's. He had shared 58 years of marriage with his wife, the former Margaret Mary Dillon. Born in Pittston, graduate of St. John the Evangelist High School in Pittston and Lackawanna College in Scranton. He spent 40 years working in the banking industry, where he was known for his professionalism, integrity, and kindness. Proud member of the Knights of Columbus, 4th degree, down in Pittston. He served as past president of the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick in Pittston. Ned also honorably served this country in the United States Air Force. Cars and sports among his many passions. In addition to his wife, he's survived by his children, his cherished grandchildren, also a sister, nieces, nephews, and others. Edward Ned O'Malley. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by our man John Basiliga, and today featuring his great Eastern Roofing Systems. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny and milder, 28. I love when they're called milder, 28. Tina Morocco, where are you? Tonight, partly cloudy and cold, low 8. Tuesday, cloudy, 25. Wednesday, partly sunny, 25 degrees. All right, well, it doesn't get that great. Now, last week, Joe said it was going to be 30 by middle of the week, but apparently not. Bob, this is the old gal from Mountaintop. I'm also worried about our country when I'm gone. I don't want my grandkids living in a land that has gone crazy. Our families fought for us to be true, good citizens. We cannot let America fail. Do these lefters ever give thought to the men and women who gave all to keep us safe and free? How absolutely stupid they are. God bless America. LTS. Thanks, LTS, back at you. Somebody said, I'm in the villages in Florida now, and it was 22 degrees this morning. Well, but listen, it was 22 degrees when you started. It was single digits here. And you know it's going away. So, and Orlando's not as warm as the Southwest coast, by the way. You know that. But I always heard great things about the videos, or the villages. Bob LTS saw a video of a couple of conservatives placing Trump bumper stickers on the lib cars in Minnesota so their own people would mess up the car. Now, that's funny. Somebody else says the White House should play that Obama speech at a press conference and say, what's changed? The Democrat Party has changed and become a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Oh, somebody said bulldog. They said by the time the bulldog tells his story, it will be spring. Oh, Lord, he's not listening. So I'll have to repeat that because you're right. All right, bulldog, we got something we want to hit. Hit it. Ruby and the Romantics. I remember a later version of this, but that's a great one. This date, 1963, they released their hit, Our Day Will Come. Bob Cordaro with you, and of course, before the Joe Rogan show, I'm just calling out the idiocy. The idiocy, the hypocrisy, the lying. I don't get it. I really don't get it. What is the point to say our team won? Or are you really dumb enough that you want illegal criminal aliens in this country amongst you? Wow. Slick says, Bob LTS, AI should play that Obama clip using Trump's voice and see how many libs go crazy and hate it. It's unbelievable. It really is. Rich McHale says, I heard you reference the voters as less than brilliant this morning. You're so right. Here in Maryland, the voters are poised to elect or reelect their local and state officials in November. Instead of their listing their accomplishments, their hopes for improvement, they embrace their TDS. It's a different world. It's my hope people like Jamie Raskin get defeated, LTS. Oh, he is a scumbag. He's the worst. Hey, let's go to Angie from Hanover Township on Groundhog Day, Angie. How are you, Angie?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Are you a Groundhog Day lover?
No, well, not really, but I tend to take a little break.
I love the movie. I don't really pay attention to the day, but I think it's a great thing, you know?
Yeah, I thought we'd take a little break from all the seriousness going on. And, rumor has it that Gus was highly insulted. He wasn't invited to the Groundhog Day festivities.
Yeah, this Gus thing. What is he? It's something they made up for the lottery. I'm not a lottery fan.
Well, he's the guy on the roller skates when they showed the ad.
Dear God. You know what the funny part is? Gus never caught on, but they keep driving him down our throats, don't they?
I guess so, but he's getting paid maybe.
Yes. The advertising agency that came up with that mediocrity is, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, it is funny, and he is a groundhog, so I don't know why he wasn't there.
Well, they can only have one, and we had in Jessup, Angie, we had a ferret up in Jessup. And
well, that's a little strange.
Well, I mean, it's a rodent. It's
yeah,
similar.
but people do keep them as pets. I mean, you don't have a groundhog in your kitchen.
Yeah, but you also don't get bit when you pull them out of the
Sure, yeah,
carrier.
true.
I don't know. I think it's fun. People come up with crazy things to do in the middle of winter just to enjoy themselves,
Well,
and I
take your
God
mind
bless them.
off all the craziness that's really going on.
That too.
It's, yeah.
I don't know. Well, so Angie, you don't really follow it, but for some reason, are you perturbed that Gus wasn't invited?
No.
Not personally? Okay.
No, it's not a real thing. Like a cartoon.
Well, I was going to question you. I was going to question you further if you were.
Well, Mickey Mouse wasn't there either, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Angie, thank you for. You're right. You're right. You need. I have no. Well, you know what? It's like a conversation. It's a 3-hour conversation every day. If someone wants to break it up to talk about something normal instead of politics, it saves my blood pressure, so it's a good thing.
Normal and silly.
Exactly. Thank you, Angie. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for talking to me.
All right, dear. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Angie in Hanover Township, breaking things up. I like that. We'll take a break ourselves because we want to hear from our great sponsors, and then we'll come back. The Rolling Stones. Murph tells us this date, 1966, they released their hit 19th Nervous Breakdown. And Vince Lombardi, our man Chester Parlavecchio, who's going to be, I don't know, he's not going to be on this week. But he said something that was so true. We were all immediately Green Bay Packers fans because the coach was Italian. So that I started off as a Packer fan as a wee lad. And then for some reason, I don't remember clearly, maybe just to go against the grain, I switched to the Dallas Cowboys through the 60s. And then when they won the Super Bowl, the Cowboys finally, I started to love the Oakland Raiders. Now I'm stuck with the Raiders, and they ain't the Raiders. I don't know what they are, but they're not the Raiders. Not the ones I love. Hi, Bob. Joe from Edwardsville. Groundhog's Day is my birthday. You poor guy. Family lore is when I was born, the doctor joked with my mother that, Joe, I saw my shadow and wanted to go back in. Ever since then, I've had to suffer the indignity of being asked by my family if I've seen my shadow. It was cute when I was a kid, but now I just roll my eyes. Well, Joe, hang in there. It's a low level of indignity, and there's dignity in facing up to it, Joe. Just let them have their fun, right? One of the drones, I'm going to switch their name from trolls to drones. And you look up drone. I'm not talking about the ones that fly in the air. It's someone that sucks off of others and does nothing on its own. But one of the drones says, let's talk Epstein files. Well, I mean, here's the point. This is actually perfect. They released millions of documents. The Democrat Party wasn't satisfied. They released now 3 million documents, videos. They're not satisfied. They'll never be satisfied. You have to understand who you're dealing with. They will never be satisfied. One of the I don't follow it, but others follow it. Sean, he's an ex. What the heck? I mean, like he's ex Green Beret or something like that, and he was saying that, and it's disturbing to think about it, but when you think back on what scumbag Biden did with the 300,000 kids released into this country with no clear place to go, thousands, if not tens of thousands, being now sex trafficked and labor trafficked, slave labor trafficked, which, by the way, none of the drones have anything to say about that. But we've got a pedophilia problem in this country. We really do. And I was watching Sean go through this, and I said, man, that's scary. That is very scary. In any event. Somebody says, Bob, a ferret is not a rodent. Well, I mean, I'm saying it in the general sense. I didn't think it was classified as a rodent. Somebody asking about the Melania documentary. Now, I'm not going to go see it. I guess it did well. I guess it did surprisingly well. Well, she's a nice person. She's very engaging. She's brilliant. She speaks 6 languages. She handles the light and the heat of all of this incredibly well. I mean, really good stuff. All right, well, he's calling late, but I got to get him in. My man Jeff Malice, the Greater Scranton Penn State chapter has an event. Jeff, you've only got a minute, but fire away.
Okay, this Friday night at our Carol and Janelle and Old Forges, our annual pizza party. We're going to have Donnie Collins speak on the Penn State Scranton football recruits upcoming for Matt Campbell. Doors open at 6 o'clock. It's a $5 donation. We have pizza for you and salad and beverages, soda, which is all on the chapter with your $5 donation.
$5 for all that?
Yeah, I mean, well, people want to give 10. We accept.
They might come in wearing Notre Dame jerseys at $5.
You're right. We don't want. And we've been doing this a long time. And the other thing of it is, but non-alcohol adult beverages, it's cash for.
That's beyond fair. My gosh.
Yeah, we've been doing this, the chapter. We want to get some people involved, people to come out. It starts at 7. Donnie will start talking around 7:15. He talks for about maybe 80 minutes, something like that. He'll talk about all the new recruits that we're getting with Matt Campbell, our new coach, and hopefully we'll get some interest. That's all. I hope you could just announce that. I really appreciate it.
Donnie Collins knows his stuff, so you're going to find out what Penn State has in store. What do you think of the new coach, Jeff Malice?
We think a lot of him. I mean, of course, he hasn't played any games yet, but he seems like a down-to-earth guy and, blue-collar guy, and I think he's going to do all right for us.
What happened? I mean, just as a fan, obviously a booster, all that. How did Penn State collapse so dramatically this year? What was that all about? I didn't think he wasn't the greatest coach in the world, but I didn't think Franklin was a bad coach.
No. I mean, he did a lot. He did get us to bowl games, and I guess not being able to beat Ohio State or, the Oregon especially, that really hurt us.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of rumors out there, Bob. I had mixed emotions on that. I mean, if I was the AD, would I have asked him to leave? I might have let him go till the end of the season, but everybody has a different opinion.
Well, they would have saved about $10 million too.
Exactly, and all the kids that he recruited. You played college football. I know you were at Dunmore. I'm a Dunmore guy too.
Yeah.
It's a tough. That was a tough situation. I'm going to be interested to see how he does at Virginia Tech.
Are they ever going to put the Paterno statue back up?
Well, that's what we're pushing for. Now, there's rumors that hopefully we will. Now, we're bringing his name up a lot more. And Terry Smith, who played for him, we almost got that head job, and he's a real Paterno guy.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that they will. And maybe
because then I can root for Penn State again. I'm still mad at them.
Oh, yeah, well, we hope you come.
I love the Penn Staters. I love the people that go to Penn State and guys like you that support and boost them, but I'm mad at Penn State nevertheless.
Yeah, everybody, I know. We hear all that all the time. But we're hoping that Matt Campbell does a good job for us. And, hey, Signetti at Indiana University did a great job.
Yep.
My son calls him the Oppenheimer of college football. But
that's a great one. Well, Jeff, so Friday at 7 o'clock, our Caro and Janelle's, you're going to love the pizza. That's for sure. $5? My gosh.
Well, we're asking for that as a donation.
That's
if they'd
great.
like to give 10, that's fine. I'm not going to stop them. And the other thing, the doors open around 6:30, okay?
All right.
Well, thank you so much, bro.
Great stuff, Jeff. Jeff, don't hesitate. You can call later in the week. We'll sneak it in again, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Jeff Malice, Greater Scranton Penn State chapter, Friday at 7 at our Caro and Janelle's. $5, and I'll tell you, I'd pay $10 to go hear Donnie Collins. We'll take a break and be back because it's news time. The Bacardo's watch tells me I'm way late. 10:03. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:10 on the nose here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Monday, February 2nd, Groundhog Day, year of our Lord, 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Eastern Roofing Systems, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year and last, but celebrate today thanks to John, like Edward Ned O'Malley of Tunkhannock, formerly of Pittston, Joseph Albiero, Einan, Scott Ringleben, Dixon City, Robert Bates, North Scranton, Kevin Harvey, Bloomsburg, and Carl Hornberger, Berwick. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order, this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world that, I don't know, I mean, a big percentage of people have gone insane. And this hour brought to you by our friend Tina Morocco. She's Global Sales Advisor, Premier Sotheby's International in Naples, Florida. She serves the entire Southwest Florida area. Gorgeous, gorgeous town after town after town. And we'll have her on a little later this morning. But great stuff. She's bringing this all to you. Somebody's this morning, Bob, hey, how about you use your dog for your town? And Wilkes-Barre uses a Cocker Spaniel. Let's get the Northeast Pennsylvania pups on the fun. Linda from Parsons. Thank you, Linda. Chauncey would be, he'd be quite a character for all of this. Somebody else saw Melania documentary on Saturday. Bob, it was awesome. I have even more respect for her, a true class act. Well, that's good. I wish it luck. I doubt I'm going to go see it. I got to find out if they have it at the Scranton Art House. It actually might be worth going to see. We'll see. We'll see about that. Well, Donald Trump, I told you about these Epstein files. So Trevor Noah, I mean, he's a good-looking guy, but he's like completely forgettable. And he was the host. Well, apparently, he said that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. Trump did not. In fact, all the references to Trump on what I saw, and my man John sent me access to all of it, all the references to Trump that I saw, I'll stand corrected. By the way, I don't really care. But were about Epstein trying to figure out how to screw Trump because Trump kicked him out of his club and he hated him. Epstein hated Trump. Trump was, in fact, by some accounts, one of the people who helped expose him in Palm Beach County. Anyway, he says it. Now Trump says, get ready, get ready, Trevor Noah. I'm going to be suing you. Oh, Lord, Trevor. Your little Trump derangement syndrome might cost you some money. Frankly, I hope it does. If you're that much of an idiot that you will lie on national TV, there should be consequences. Amen. All right, Picardo's Jewelers Watch tells me it's 10:14, and it's Monday. And there's the music. It tells me it's time for our man, John Perillo, and Monday Musings. How are you, John?
I'm good, Bob. It's good to be here, and thank you again for lending me your audience for a little bit. And for you out there, Bob and I were, as usual, texting about this week's topic, and as usual, the news comes at us like a fire hose, and that makes it difficult to process and even more disturbing than it might otherwise be. And when it gets like that, I think it's helpful to go back a bit and think about concepts. And if you can be rooted in your beliefs and the concepts that are their foundation, then you can look at all this chaos around you with some understanding, at least. And, very little of what we see is new, no matter how chaotic it may seem. And I was sent an essay by a guy named Charles Lane, who's a pretty conventional conservative, and he was writing about a book that George Orwell wrote called The Road to Wigan Pier. It was published in Great Britain in 1937. Now, there was a time when pretty much everyone at least read Animal Farm, from which we get the quote, all animals are equal, just some are more equal than others, or 1984. and we used to assign those books as reading in school, and I thought they did a great job of explaining why communism and socialism never work. I doubt they're assigned reading anymore, so if you can, after Bob's show, put one on tape and listen to it. They're worth listening to. But anyway, what few people realize is that Orwell was a lifelong committed socialist. Yep. And in The Road to Wigan Pier, you get some glimpses of him looking at the workers, a favorite socialist construction, the workers of the proletariat, those who do all the work but don't own the means of production. And Lane quotes Orwell saying, quote, in a way, it is even humiliating to watch coal miners working. It raises in you a momentary doubt about your own status as an intellectual and a superior person generally, for it is brought home to you that it is only because miners sweat their guts out that superior persons can remain superior, end quote. Now, your parents and grandparents out there in Pennsylvania coal country probably thought the same thing about intellectuals, even though they may not have been quite as articulate as Mr. Orwell. Listen to this quote, also excerpted by Mr. Lane, from the same Orwell book, and keep in mind what you're hearing in the news today in our country. Quote, we have reached a stage where the very word socialism calls up, on the one hand, pictures of aeroplanes, tractors, and glittering factories of glass and concrete. On the other, a picture of vegetarians with wilting beards, of Bolsheviks, of earnest ladies in sandals, shock-headed birth control fanatics. Socialism does not smell any longer of revolution and the overthrow of tyrants. It smells of crankishness, machine worship, and the stupid cult of Russia. And unless you can remove that smell, and very rapidly, fascism may win, end quote. Okay, the world has progressed a little bit since 1937, but as Lane points out, if you changed aeroplanes to electric cars, or trans kids for birth control, or free Palestine for the stupid cult of Russia, Orwell could have written this book, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
The book is most critical about the way that the intellectual left goes about talking about economic remedies while ignoring or being dismissive of lower-class spiritual and emotional needs. And as listeners to this piece well know, because I'm something of a broken record on the topic, we need philosophy and theology to understand anything. So Orwell goes on to say that, quote, socialists have proceeded on the assumption that man has no soul, and explicitly or implicitly they have set up the goal of a materialistic utopia. As a result, fascism has been able to play upon the very instincts that revolt against the hedonism and a cheap conception of process. And it has been able to pose as the upholder of the European tradition and to appeal to the Christian belief, to patriotism, and to the military virtues, end quote. Right? So Orwell sees the extreme right in the 1930s as a response to the left that mocks belief, tradition, patriotism, and virtue. And it's certainly a noble cause to want to, for instance, house homeless people, but can you really do that at the same time that you're destroying the culture of work and the culture of Judeo-Christianity? Well, yeah, you can just become authoritarian. You can build government-run housings and grocery shops in cities, hypothetically. Lane here, again quoting
Not
Orwell.
hypothetically, they tried it.
Exactly, right? So hang on, because here's Lane quoting Orwell again, 1937. It is a great achievement to get slum dwellers in decent housing, but it is unfortunate that it is also considered necessary to rob them of the last vestiges of their liberty, end quote. Orwell, the socialist, saying that the British socialist movement of the late 1930s might be trying to help people, but in doing so they were destroying freedom. Or said in the vernacular of today's news, you can either have freedom or you can have city-owned grocery stores, but I promise you can't have both. Orwell points out that it is the left that wants that libertyless order, and further, that the left believes, quote, the lower class smell. And that was his way of describing the down-the-nose look of condescension you get from modern liberalism. When you want to, drive a big car or enjoy a big steak or turn up your heat, cook with gas, go to church or drink a damn Budweiser or do anything else that the smart people disagree with. Orwell saying here again, quote, that too many people calling themselves socialists, revolution does not mean a movement of the masses with which they hope to associate themselves. It means a set of reforms that we, the clever ones, are going to impose on them, the lower orders, end quote. And it's the left's inability to understand human nature that was creating right-wing extremism. Again, this is back in 1937.
Is it an inability to understand Mother Nature, or is it that they're so smart they think they can overrun human nature?
Well, I think that's here, and here's Orwell again, right? So now, by the way,
because we got to take a break, so let's finish
Yep.
with this quote. Go ahead.
Orwell never abandoned socialism, but he did ask for socialists to begin to speak to the working class voters in terms that they would understand. He wanted them to abandon, quote, class consciousness and adopt language that was, quote, compatible with common decency. And on that, we'll take a break. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
All right. John Perillo, Monday Musings. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. This date, 1967, Jimi Hendrix Experience performed their hit Purple Haze on the television show Top of the Pops on BBC TV. That's according to our man Murph. And 1980, NBC News reporting the FBI had conducted a sting operation. It was called Abscam. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was a pretty good movie. I just don't remember. But until the senator from New Jersey, Menendez, Bob Menendez, the only senator that really got himself jailed was Senator Harrison, also from New Jersey. How about that? And that was in the Abscam deal. All right, let's get back to our man John Perillo, because it's Monday. That means Monday musings. George Orwell, our topic today. Continue, my man.
You got it. And we just finished. We were wrapping up a little bit with how George Orwell talked about he wanted the liberals at his time, the socialists at his time, to drop class consciousness and adopt language that was compatible with common decency. And you've heard Bob say many times that we need a Democratic Party. And I fully agree with him. Right? We need ideas that challenge the status quo no matter who's in charge. And we need a give and take because, that's precisely the way our Constitution was designed. What we don't need, what Orwell was warning socialists then and Democrats today against, was woke condescension. And if you remember Bill Clinton's third way, well, that phrase actually turned into a Democratic focus group. And they have been openly telling the Democratic Party to stop using phrases like pregnant people, because they are, in their own Democratic position paper, saying things that quote, no ordinary person would ever dream of saying, end quote. Somebody must have been reading their Orwell, right? What Orwell said was that what the ordinary worker really wants from a socialist party was, quote, present society with the worst abuses left out and with interests centering around the same things as at present, family life, the pub, football, and local politics. Lane, quoting Orwell here again, that instead of that, what they're getting is, quote, a prim little man with a white-collar job and, above all, a social position which he has no intention of forfeiting, end quote. Look, I hate people dropping the word fascism without really knowing what it means. But let me assure you, Orwell most certainly did know. And I despise both socialism and populism on the left and the right for the same reasons. Both reduce the God-given dignity of the individual, socialism by making the individual subservient to the good of the collective, and populism by bending to the whims of the majority, which is counter to everything that the founders thought, and more importantly, what our Judeo-Christian tradition teaches about that same dignity. And so for my friends on the left, I absolutely believe that the rise of the current populist conservative movement is an output. It is the result of the open condescension of the morals of the working class families that took place during the last couple of Democratic administrations. And the new American socialist movement knows what's best for you, your religion, your family, your land, your cow, your cat, your dog, and your toilet, because they're so superior that they're willing to force you to like it too. Mm-hmm. And George Orwell clearly would not have been a fan of the MAGA movement. I mean, he was a socialist, but he would have blamed the current Democratic Party for creating it. And for your listeners out there who are certainly, can't support the way the many in the Democratic Party seem to openly oppose law and order, but who also feel very uneasy about what they hear coming from the mouths of those who claim to be conservative, this piece is for you. The maximalists of those on the left has, in my opinion, created the maximalism of those on the right. And because, rock and roll sometimes says things better than I can, I am, like the band Steelers' Wheel says, stuck in the middle with you.
Well, it's fascinating.
Was just what I said. The worst abuses of capitalism gone, but not where socialism was headed at the time or today. I think that's a good way of looking at it.
And he actually knew what fascism was. That was an important point. And by the way, that the dichotomy between fascism and socialism, well, there is a third way.
Right.
And they seem to overlook that.
Yeah. I think what you see in people tend to think of fascism as far right and communism and socialism as far left on a line. Both cases, the key thing is that they destroy and they denigrate human dignity, which is the very basis of our existence. It's the basis of our religion. It's the basis of everything in our culture, and those are the things we should be watching out for.
All right. Our man, John Perillo, bringing us a new bag, and we look forward to next week. Thank you, John.
You got it, Bob. Thank you to you and your listeners again. I hope you have a great week.
Have a great week. Have a great week, my man. Pleasure. We'll take a break. It's 10:30. That means we want to hear from our sponsors. We got a little weather. We got a little ditty to play for you. And then we got Tina Morocco telling us about Florida, which we need to hear about, even though it's chilly there this morning. We'll take a break and be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our friend John Basiliga, friend of the vets, and his great companies, including Eastern Roofing Systems, the premier roofing contractor for institutional, commercial, and industrial uses in the eastern United States. And they bring all that expertise, all that buying power to do your roof in your home or small building here in Northeast PA, because they're headquartered in Jessup. Eastern Roofing Systems. Scott Ringelben. We lost him at age 68 last December 2nd. He was from Dixon City. He was also from Binghamton. He's survived by his wife, Mary Ringelben, his daughter, Danielle, his stepdaughters, his grandchildren, his twin sister, and many other family members. A veteran in the United States Navy. He worked as a machinist, retiring from Lockheed Martin in Archbald. He had a heart for God. His faith truly defined him. He combined his love of the Lord with his passion for motorcycling as a member of the Christian Motorcyclists Association. How about that? The Montrose chapter. Fellowshipping and ministering with his brothers and sister bikers. Scott Ringelben. Just 68 when we lost him. Robert Bates, North Scranton. We lost him January 13th this year. His wife of 57 years is the former Norma Peters. Robert Bates was born in Scranton, son of the late Clarence and Antoinette Nardella, a graduate of the great Scranton Technical High School, class of 1963. Like so many Red Raiders, He proudly served in the United States Marine Corps. Prior to retirement, he was employed by the Scranton School District. Surviving are his son and daughter, grandchildren, and other family members. Robert Bates. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny and milder, 28. And by the way, the weather brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain. Oh, I got to tell you, I was up there this weekend. Oh, I loved it. My gosh. Tonight, partly cloudy and cold, low 8 degrees. Tuesday, cloudy, 25. Wednesday, partly sunny, high 25. And that is your weather brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resorts, where, to me, weather is synonymous with Montage Mountain. And when I think Montage Mountain, I say, what's the weather? Well, I was up there. My son Bobby went up to ski, so I met him. And an old dear friend by the name of Kevin Scanlon, they were both skiing. And I met them in the lodge, which I love. My God, it was hopping. It was beautiful. Of course it was cold, but then Cutie went up on Sunday and was skiing with her daughter, Gabby. It was, I'm telling you, a fabulous weekend at Montage. If you're not skiing or snowboarding, you're missing out. If you're not grabbing one of those tents with the fire pits and having a party, you're missing out. You really are. All right. Well, when we hear that song, we know it's time for Tina Morocco, Global Sales Advisor at Premier Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida, but serving all of Southwest Florida. And here she is. Tina, how are you, my dear?
I'm fabulous, Bob. How are you?
I'm great. So we've got a direct flight from Wilkes-Barre Scranton International Airport on Breeze right to Fort Myers. That's the gateway to Southwest Florida.
It's the gateway to sunshine.
Yeah, I know. By the way, we
Except
have seen.
today, it's freezing.
Is it freezing today? Well,
we're 50 degrees. Iguanas are literally falling out of the trees today.
I love when they do that, by the way. Well, so it's 50 degrees, but it's 50 degrees.
It's 50 degrees, and it's sunny, which is great.
We're 20 here. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually heading to the airport right now to pick up a customer. We're going to Cape Coral to look at some properties, which will be fun. It'll be a pretty day in Cape Coral. You know, there's a lot of marinas, a lot to see and do in Cape Coral. A lot of Gulf access homes if you're a boater, so you can have the boat parked right in your backyard. So that's fun.
Well, Cape Coral, I've been there a couple of times. It actually is beautiful, good little downtown, great bars, great restaurants, the whole package. good cigar
Yeah.
bar. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And it's growing. There's a lot of new construction in Cape Coral, and price points are, a little bit more moderate than they are in Naples and even Fort Myers. So you can really get a good deal right now in Cape Coral. If you want a new home, no restrictions in most of the areas of Cape Coral, so no HOA, so you can have any kind of dogs you want. You can have a fence in your backyard. Sometimes in Naples, some of the communities are more restrictive in those aspects.
Well, Chauncey, my bull mastiff, he's looking for better weather. He's looking for better weather.
This would be perfect for him.
Yeah,
he could go swimming in the canal in the back.
Yeah, he really is. So
Yeah.
where is Cape Coral located? Vis-a-vis Naples and
Yeah.
Fort Myers?
So Cape Coral is sort of northwest of Fort Myers, and Naples. So you just keep driving up. So it would be Naples, and then you're going to hit Bonita Springs, Estero, and then kind of to the west, you go over a bridge in Fort Myers to Cape Coral. And so Cape Coral is pretty big. It's separated into 4 quadrants. But yeah, there's a bunch of marinas there. There's a lot to do. Really a growing area.
How neat. So you've got customers flying in on the Breeze flight today?
Flying into picking them up, and we're going directly to see some properties today.
Oh, what kind of properties are they interested in?
So she's interested in new construction, and she has 2 big dogs. Like similar size to your bull mastiff, 120 pounds. So she wants a property where she can, put a fence in the backyard and, just kind of enjoy the Florida weather.
Yeah.
So she, a couple of the properties have boat lifts in the back, they're Gulf access, canal access homes. So it'll be great. I can't wait.
And the direct flights out of our airport make it much easier. They're inexpensive flights, too, I must add. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And the Breeze Airways, the planes are brand new, which makes it really nice.
Neat. Well, Tina Morocco, she's Global Sales Advisor at Premier Sotheby's International, headquartered in Naples, but she's showing Cape Coral today for some potential snowbirds. So great stuff. Thanks for the update on Cape Coral.
Absolutely,
it sounds magnificent.
Bob. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Tina.
All right. Of course. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
All
Bob.
right. You can reach her at Morocco, Muracco, Tina at gmail.com. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Peter Frampton. Murph says this date, 1976, he released his hit single, Show Me the Way, one of the greatest albums of all time. And let's go right to, let's play the theme song, Bulldog. Do you have the theme song ready for our guy? Yes, he does. We are supporters of ICE here, baby. Ice, Ice, baby. Luciano from Luzerne County. How are you, Luciano? I'm happy to have your theme song back.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Go ahead. Did you play it?
Yes.
I can't hear it from over here, but I didn't want to say anything. I never could hear it from the phone. But anyway, let me just say this: that lady's very sweet and kind. But the only place I want to live permanently is in heaven with the good Lord, and that's my permanent place I want to live. And I'm not jealous of what people make and how they make it, because
we didn't talk about permanently now, Luciano.
But some people live permanently. But some people live permanently in very exquisite, fancy, luxurious houses, and yet when they die, unfortunately, you know where they go.
Yeah, but there's people like us, Southwest Florida, there's people like us who are working stiffs who can afford to live there also. It's
I agree. Yeah. I used to live in Santa Monica. I worked in Santa Monica. I lived in Santa Monica, about 20 miles away from Los Angeles, California. So I did live in a fairly respectable area. The only reason, there was a long story why I came back home to Pennsylvania, but I needed to come home to be with my father and mother. But anyway, that's another story. I just want to say this, please. Bob, I was talking to some black people, how they speak. Sometimes they say colorful words, especially black women.
I know a lot of white people that do that too, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I couldn't resist what they said. They use some vulgar, very colorful words, but I'll try to keep it as clean as possible, as pure as possible.
Bulldog's ready to bleep if it sneaks out. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say it, God forbid. They said, have you noticed, Luciano, how many white liberals are supporting migrants? And the lady was saying, well, we're not going to support migrants no more. We don't trust them no more. And they're trying to. These were two black women. They're trying to. What the white liberal establishment is trying to do is trying to. That's their main object is to get migrants in this country and flood this country. And I've been walking around with some black people. I have a black friend. He's a Catholic conservative, and you would just hear what these nice, polite women say. I know you don't like the word white, but say Caucasians. I've been around Muslims. They say Caucasians for white. They say they're going to deport me. They're going to deport my black African American friend because he's black, and we're next in line.
Yeah.
But just they say those vulgar words. But Bob, Republicans, stay strong, stay tough. Be like pit bulls, be like mustiffs, be like Doberman pinschers. Don't give in
to
these radical Democrats.
1050 on the Bacardo watch. My favorite Queen song. Murph says they moved up to number 5 this date, 1980, with their hit, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Day 49, the Biden hometown hero banner, stolen valor. The Green Ridge Neighborhood Association holding the good people of the Green Ridge section of Scranton hostage. Joe Biden's hometown hero banner, he was not in the military. You can embarrass yourselves all you want associating yourself with this crumb bum, but don't debase our heroes who actually served. "9/11 dispatchers." I got this from a man, Nicky D. And let's not forget about this. I'm so happy he sent this. We forget about them so often. And I've got to say, when I was in office, I walked the walk. We built a brand new, state-of-the-art 911 center. It was complete idiocy. Our 911 center was on street level in downtown Scranton. You could have knocked out our emergency communications with a hand grenade, with a rock. But now a new state-of-the-art up in Jessup. But Nikki reminds me, 9/11 dispatchers, 911, the most important person you will never see. Thank a dispatcher today. Back the blue. America's heroes. Great stuff. So, 2 things. The lunatics are in charge. That means the Democrats, unfortunately, are in charge in Virginia. So what are they going after? They show their stripes when they're in control. They're going after the Virginia Military Institute. Now, VMI came to my attention. There's a Dunmore guy, great guy, by the name of Joe Catafio. And he became the head basketball coach at VMI and elsewhere. But that's how VMI came to my attention. It's an amazing school. Well, the state has the right to appoint its board. And the state of Virginia and its left-wing lunatic governor have now appointed 5, I guess they got seats on the board of VMI. They're in charge of their budget and everything. Well, their goal is to shut it down because they're left-wing lunatics. What a disgrace. Let's hope not. By the way, on a totally unrelated note, so last night, I'm taking my shower, and I had enough. I had a goatee, which I ran with since my vacation. Back on January 5th, I just started growing it, and I shaved the beard part off It's actually pretty easy to have a goatee. But then it started, like I started to feel it and all this other stuff. So I shaved it off. And Cutie's the one that made me keep the goatee. But here we are. I shave it off. She didn't even notice this morning. So that'll tell you. I mean, if you don't even notice it, what's the point? She didn't say, oh, you shaved it off. Not one word. So the goatee is gone if you're watching on live stream. And I've got, oh, by the way, if you're watching on live stream, I'll again this week, I'll be wearing my all-time great clothes. That doesn't mean I'm all-time great. The clothing line by my man Chris Finazzo is called All Time Great. It's just absolutely cool stuff. And I've got it on today in one of the T-shirts. There's several others. So they're showing Punxsutawney Phil. And he predicted 6 more weeks of winter out in Gobbler's Knob and Punxsutawney. He seems like a passive little guy, and they had their fun and all that. But we had, here in Northeast Pennsylvania, we had Jessup Giuseppe, and he said that, and I think they're both right, by the way, he said that winter will end early. Well, our friends, Chelsea Bresnahan and Rob Bresnahan, were up at the inaugural Jessup Groundhog Day, and she said there were about 300 people there on Sunday morning. How great is that? And the Bulldog not counted in that because apparently he needs his own park. Bulldog, by the way, weren't there handicap parking spaces? Well, Chelsea and Rob Bresnahan got there. I mean, our congressman got there. You couldn't get there. You live in Jessup. Well, not really. Not really. I mean, we heard your long-winded explanation, but no, it didn't happen. Well, Chelsea also sent me a great story that's on Facebook about the inaugural Jessup Groundhog Day, which I'm going to check out shortly. But Chelsea, thank you, because I'm happy you were there. Man, they're everywhere, these guys. Hey, let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return because Bacardo's tells me it's 11:02, time for the news. Great good morning, everyone. 11:06 a.m. here in the great Northeast. That's what my Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me. This Monday, February 2nd, hereinafter known as the day after Jessup Giuseppe said, no, we got a short winter. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Eastern Roofing Systems, to honor the brave people we lost last year in this, but celebrate today, but who served this country with distinction. Like Robert Bates, North Scranton, Scott Ringleben, Dixon City, Edward Ned O'Malley, Tunkhannock, but he was also from Pittston, Joseph Albiero, Einan, Kevin Harvey, Bloomsburg, Carl Hornberger, Berwick. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will indeed provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world where, for some reason, a good percentage of the population and the entire Democrat Party has gone insane. Well, Chelsea Bresnahan sent me a great film of Jessup Groundhog Day. I'm telling you, it's fabulous. I got to go there next year. I'm not going to wait for the Bulldog because he gets there late. But wow. I'm really a lot of fun. I'm so great they did. Our friend Matt Catanzaro, our friend Alex Baccardo, and a great gang up in Jessup chanting USA. I was great. It was fabulous. About 300 people showed up, had a blast. And, man, I should have gone. Next year I will. Speaking, though, of things that are more pressing, at least at the moment, our man Tyler Cornell's in the studio to tell us what's happening on the roads.
Hey, so yeah, I appreciate the heads up about I usually.
That's one of our great listeners. Yeah,
really appreciate it. So yeah, it's bumper to bumper traffic after a major crash on 81 North. It's at exit 170A Bear Creek. Hearing it was a vehicle rollover, but right now things are down to one lane, and the backlog is actually getting close to 168 Highland Park Boulevard in Wilkes-Barre. And it looks like it happened around 10:30. That's what I saw. And the anticipated end time, cleanup time, it says noon.
Ugh.
So we'll see. I mean, that's just.
So if you're going 181 North near the Bear Creek area,
yeah,
wow.
I was gonna say unless you want to sit there for a while, I would probably get off at Highland Park and then just kind of go from there. But yeah, right now it's just bumper to bumper. It doesn't even look like there's any movement, and it is down. I don't know which lane is closed. I tried pulling up the cameras and couldn't see, but it does say there is a lane restriction. So
well, our guy Paul from Larksville, you guys very often let us know when you see something in traffic, and then I get Tyler working on it, and we find out if it's going to last. This one's going to last for a little bit.
At least for it says the next hour or so, but hopefully they can get it cleaned up. I would hope within the next half hour, but I don't know how bad it was. I don't know if it was a tractor trailer. We had some of those this morning, so we'll see how bad it is. But if you're in it, hang tight. But if you're on your way, just maybe try and find a different direction.
Sometimes people think because the road has been cleared and is apparently dry, you could still catch an icy patch or something just off the roadway, and you're gone, flying.
I mean, and that's what I've been dealing with, like, since last week, since that snowstorm. It's just a lot of more crashes I'm seeing are popping up, and I think it is because there's those slick spots out there. Everybody's like, oh, okay, there's no more snow out in the roadways. There's those little patches of ice. You hit that black ice, you're done.
Yeah.
You could be in a lot of trouble. So, again, just everybody take it easy. It's still really cold out there. It could freeze over, especially in the early morning.
So we're going to be tied up at least until we leave the air. So thank you. All right.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Yep. Our guy Tyler Cornell in the newsroom with our traffic. We'll, it's what is, That's what happens. Hey, Somebody says, Bob Jessup should change Groundhog Day to sunset. Punxsutawney Phil has sunrise. Not a bad idea. Somebody says, Punxsutawney Page said no more snow. Oh, we got a mess in Scranton. And I'm telling you, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm going, these poor guys in our Scranton DPW working without a contract for basically, it's 2 years or more. They're working without a contract because she will not bear down and get it done. And wow, they picked up the garbage. They're trying to do the snow. They don't have all the equipment they need. They don't have a contract. And that's what you get when your mayor's in Washington, D.C., trying to raise money instead of doing her job. Unbelievable. By the way, Bruce from Nanticoke says, I shaved mine yesterday, meaning his beard or goatee. Won't miss the frozen stash boogers. I hadn't reached that stage, Bruce. That's not what I was thinking about. Oh, Lord. So this is Bob LTS. 81 and Cross Valley construction, not well thought out. Ice or no ice, that area's a mess and will take some time before they fix it. I know where it cuts down. I know exactly where you mean. But you got to go slow. Be cautious out there, please. Don't get done. I was racing. I caught myself today. I was racing to work because I was a little late. And, man, by the way, let's go back to something my man Nikki D sent me. It said, I'm tired of people saying police officers need more training. You had 18 years to train your child not to steal, shoot, stab, burn buildings, flip cars, block traffic, and attack other people. Police didn't fail you. You failed your child. Now, let's put a corollary on that to these aging left-wing lunatic ICE protesters. Wake up. Somebody said a plow truck made appearance on my mom's street in Southside. They never do her street, but that was definitely a PR appearance. The plow wasn't even down. Somebody says, St. Bob, you're a handsome guy. You don't need no hair on your face. Well, I liked the goatee. I did. But I only like it for days. Not much longer. By the way, another thing that was sent into me. I want to identify who sent it. Now I've lost it. Oh, here it is. My man Ken. He sent in this thing. Now, Democrats passed all the immigration and deportation laws they are now fighting against President Trump enforcing. Now, they include, number one, Immigration and Nationality Act, the McCarran-Walter Act, 1952. Democrat House, Senate, and President. Number two, Immigration and Nationality Act amendments, Hart-Celler Act, 1965. Democrat House, Senate, and President. Number three, Immigration Reform and Control Act, 1986. Democrat House. Number four, Immigration Act, 1990. Democrat House and Senate. Number five, Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act, 1996. Democrat House, Senate, and President. It just gives you a concept of what has happened to these fools. And they're following along. They're following along like blind drones. Unbelievable. Quite amazing. All right. Somebody says, still on that Biden thing, Bobby, concentrate on Trump's screw-ups. Well, Trump doesn't have a hometown hero banner. He isn't stealing valor from our veterans. He doesn't have Democrats putting up banners that are beyond inappropriate. If Trump screws up, we acknowledge it. Joe Biden was addled beyond belief, and you defended him. And somebody says the truth here, sadly. It just shows Democrats have no core values or principles. They go with whatever way the wind is blowing, and they follow their communist leaders. That's what they do. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back after we hear from our great sponsors, a little history, a little music, and you could reach me at 570-883-0098. Call or text. Blink 182. We're trying to play some more modern music. It's just not as good. Sorry. February 2nd, 2004, Murph says they released their hit Miss You. Play it a little longer, Bulldog. Let me try to not dislike it. I don't know. I mean, not terrible, just not great. Bob, in the New York Times, somebody takes in Trump mentions 5,300 times in the Epstein files, but he barely knew him really. Yeah, and I told you, and you know this, by the way. So stop lying. He didn't have any association with the island or his romps with underage girls and young girls. Most of those mentions were when he was plotting against Trump or bitching about him. And you know that. Unbelievable. And what, you think you made some kind of a point there? Seriously. This is how much you hate Trump. That you'll just lie and make things up. And go with a narrative that doesn't make any sense. Crazy. And this is a story that I found over the weekend, somebody reminding me of it. Thank you. The mayor of New York, under the warmth of collectivism, he caused 13 mentally ill homeless people to freeze to death by leaving them on the streets. He reversed the policies of past mayors. They would take down these tent cities. That's what New York City used to do when the weather was going to get bad. Oh, no, we can't bother the homeless. This listener's telling me 13. I had read 10. Dead. Thank you, Mayor Mamdani, and all of your compassion. Disgusting leftists. LTS, somebody texts in, my mother, 91 years old, has lived at her current address for 58 years. And apparently Scranton has the funds to pay someone to put a notice on her door to remove snow on the sidewalk on the rear of her property. I'm the snow removal son and haven't cleaned it for 10 plus years because there's no need to clean it because there's nobody that needs access to the rear of the property. But DPW doesn't have a contract. That nails it. That epitomizes the left and our awful mayor. Hey, let's go to Kyle from Pittston. How are you, Kyle?
Hey, how's it going? I came into Blink 182 unexpectedly, and that was pretty cool.
I don't know. I mean, we try to play newer stuff, and it was okay.
Well, here's the thing about that. It reminded me of the song itself is okay. It's fine. Yeah. But the video for that is cool because it's in black and white. The guy's playing a stand-up bass. It's made to look like it's from, like, the 20s. It's pretty neat. I mean, check it out. It's kind of cool.
No, we're doing it, even though we're all a bunch of old fogies here. We're trying to reach in.
Well, here's the thing. I was a DJ, and my music taste ended probably in the early 2000s. But you have to, if you sprinkle it here and there, you could fake it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, okay, I want to start off on a good foot there because I want to talk to you. I guess that's okay. You said about Trump and about military and things, and I just wanted to point out that Donald Trump said that military people were suckers.
No,
and,
he didn't.
The Valor thing.
That has been discredited a number of times by a number of people that were there.
Well, that's the thing about Trump. It's like facts, and then there's like truthiness. Do you know what I mean? So like there's like on the record.
He says a lot of stupid things. I mean, he won't shut up. I don't know why, but that's his thing. And it's like I say this. I compare it to. I remember I had college teammates in particular, and they'd be yelling and trash talking to the other team, and I'd be going, "Play the football game." But that's part of what you get with Trump.
I agree with that, but I think he's a lot smarter than people even maybe you're giving him credit for. I think he's a brilliant guy. I really do. I respect Donald Trump. I do. I think he's horrible, but I respect him because he plans things and he tells you what he's going to do and he executes them right in front of your face, and then everybody goes, did he do that? Was that for real? He said
now, why is he horrible, Kyle? Tell me.
Well, here's it. Well, I'll liken it to this. Like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, he said I could shoot somebody in the middle of Main Street and I get away with it. And then he went to the Supreme Court and they said okay. And then it just happened 2 weeks ago. The guy just got shot.
Be fair, Kyle. The Supreme Court, certainly as it currently exists, they make decisions based on law. Period.
Okay. Sure. But they also make
and Trump saying
on,
something stupid doesn't discredit the Supreme Court.
I'm not saying something stupid. I'm saying what they gave him the option to do is he said, I can shoot someone in the middle of Main Street, and if I liken it to a presidential action, it's okay.
He meant that in terms of he meant that in the context of when he said it, he meant that in terms of how popular he is with a group of people. So you're taking it out of context.
When you talk about somebody who admittedly speaks out of context all the time and changes his context situationally, depending on who he's talking to, what reporter's there, what news outlet is there, if it's you, me, who agrees with him, I would say every version of what he says is accurate all the time. And what happened 2 weeks ago, if just let me finish this point, was a guy was killed by Trump's administration. The administration came out and said things that were not true. It's not on video what they said. The video totally denies what they said. And they came out and said this guy came to attack these people, and he was shot dead. And, Americans are fighting each other over a citizen who was killed by its own government. I don't understand that.
Kyle, I watched the video from every angle.
The CNN video,
and I don't mean the one from 11 days prior when he was a raving madman. I don't mean that one. I mean the day. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. That's who he was.
What does
That's
that mean?
who he
because
was.
If you catch anybody at a certain point in time, they are whatever that is at that point. But when he came up to these police at the point where he was
provoking him on the 11 days prior? Nobody was provoking him. He was out of his mind.
If we talk about but that doesn't matter because the day he was killed.
Let's go to the incident.
Let me finish this point,
let's go to Kyle. Let's go to the incident in question.
Okay.
Here's what I saw. Now, an ICE agent was being impeded by a woman. He knocked her down. Was it rough? Yeah, I don't care, but you may. He knocked her down. She was an idiot. She was impeding. She was impeding an ICE operation against a dangerous criminal. Now, he then stood up for her, chivalry, whatever.
Sure.
He resisted their, hey, get out of the way. They tried non-lethal force. Then they took him down to the ground, and he was fighting and struggling. Now, they took the gun away, and I don't know if that was clarified with the officers. There should be an investigation of that. And either that gun discharged itself, because it has a reputation for that, the Sig Sauer,
Do you think that's reaching a little bit there?
Or they shot him as he was struggling, which they have. They may have the right to do. I'm waiting for the investigation, and I'll wait for the results. But you don't, if you're of sound mind, just like the woman who got killed because she tried to run over a cop and run away from another. Both people are mentally ill because Kyle, I want to ask you a question. Would you get Kyle? Would you get in the middle? Kyle, I'm asking a question. Would you do you think there's any sense to getting in the middle? Let's say the Pittston police have a raid. Is there any sense, and do you think there'll be a good outcome if you try to get in their way when they're trying to apprehend a criminal?
It's funny you say that because this actually happened to me, and I can explain it in 2 seconds. I had a friend who was at the hardware bar at Wilkes-Barre when it was open, and he was an art student, and he went in the bathroom and vandalized it. And they tried to get him, and on the way out, he ran, and the security tackled him, and he was so wrong. And I was at the hardware all the time. I love that bar. And I said to him, you're an idiot. You go to jail now. But in the meantime, he tried to run, and they tackled him. When the police came and arrested him, the guy had him on the ground with his knee in his back, similar to the guy that got choked out and died. And I went over to the cop, and I had my pocket.
You're talking about Floyd, who overdosed on fentanyl. But okay,
sure, whatever. Okay, well, I'm saying that the guy had his knee in my friend's back. But let's just stick to what we're saying here. So that happened, and I went over to the police officer with my pocket constitution, and I said, "Hey, you're being kind of rough there. I said, you just handcuff him and take him. And he said, back up or you're going. I said, okay, but he's crying and screaming out. I said, does it have to be that rough? And before I could say anything else, I was on the ground in handcuffs and I was arrested. When I was taken to my court date, the judge was laughing with the police officer before I went in. Kane, his name was. And then when I went in, he gave me 3 choices. And he said, you can pick your charge. I'll give you 1. But if you talk to me about this and tell your story, you get all 3. And people were there. So I picked the misdemeanor, and I walked away with public nuisance. And, I think that bothers me so much because that was wrong. What happened to this guy that got killed was wrong. And the whole system is just
by the way,
lazy.
you don't know that. Let's see what the investigation shows.
But
He was struggling on the ground until he was dead. Until he was dead.
You've already asserted the gun went off. But you've already asserted that the gun went off by itself. You made that doubt.
No,
Why?
I didn't assert that. I didn't assert that.
You said we don't know.
Kyle, you don't even know how to listen. You don't even know how to listen because you're so convinced. Here's what I said, Kyle. Do not mischaracterize what I said because I know what I'm saying.
Syntax,
the gun was a type of gun that the police used to use. They no longer use because it had a tendency to misfire. I said that could have been part of it. I didn't say.
Why is that part of it?
Because the sound of a gun going off would make the officers assume certain things that they wouldn't have otherwise, maybe.
Do you think you're coloring the argument by saying that? Because there was no investigation. You have no evidence of that. You're coloring the argument. So you're starting out by saying...
I said, what if it did? First of all, Kyle,
catch
a breath. Take a breath. You're so excited about your nonsense that you can't take a breath. Kyle, I want to hear you breathe. I want to hear you breathe.
Yeah, you're going off the argument because you can't hold water. That's great.
What are you talking about? I just went through the whole scenario.
Okay. And the cops said a gun that they know discharges like that went off. And
it might have. No. Stop telling me what I said and lying. See, this is what the left has to do. You have to lie. You have to lie to frame your argument properly.
Where's the lie?
I did not say that the gun went off. Kyle, I got to put you on hold. Idiot. An idiot. And here's what you get. I said this very clearly last week and this. The Sig Sauer, and we had people call in. I had it confirmed. I researched it. It's true. It had a tendency to go off. Now, the officers in question are putting a guy down who's viciously resisting, who has not backed down despite non-lethal force being used. He continues to struggle. They may, and this is what I said, this is what the investigation has to disclose. Did the gun go off and make them think that he fired it, which made them fire their guns? We had an expert on who talked about the concern and the use of lethal force is based on what the officers think reasonably. If they heard a gun go off, misfired, I didn't say the guy fired it. They hear the call of gun. They hear a gunshot. They know it's not them. They have a reasonable opportunity to fire to put down the guy who's already physically resisting, who already ignored non-lethal force. Now, I've also said I'm willing to wait for the investigation to come out. But to come out and call it a murder or take these positions that the left is taking, which are lies and based on lies, is wrong. So, Kyle, you're wrong. I hope you're breathing again. We'll take a break and be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. He does it in truth. He does it in patriotism. He does it in loyalty to our great vets. And featuring today his amazing Eastern Roofing Systems, one of the largest and indeed the best commercial, institutional, and industrial roofer in the Eastern United States. And they bring that expertise, they bring that buying power right here to Northeast Pennsylvania to do your home or small building. Eastern Roofing Systems, because they're headquartered in Jessup. Kevin Harvey, beloved son, brother, father, grandfather, and friend, went home to be with the Lord, his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, December 30th. Born in Bloomsburg, he graduated from Bloomsburg High School in 1977. He faithfully served his country in the United States Army from March 1978 until 1984. He became and raised to the rank of sergeant. He was married to Lydia Hines of Maryland and later to Deborah Davidson Harvey for 11 years. Survivors include his son, 3 beautiful granddaughters, siblings. He's also survived by numerous aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews. Kevin Harvey. Carl Hornberger. He passed away at age 92, U.S. Air Force veteran. He was from Berwick. We lost him January 11th this year. He'd been a resident of this home in North Center Township for more than 50 years. Born in 1933, he graduated from Bloomsburg High School. He faithfully served 22 years in the military, honorably discharged from the Air Force in 1975. In 1961, he married his loving wife, Shirley Hummel. For many years, he was employed by Wise Potato Chip, Berwick, working maintenance until his retirement in 1995. He attended the Berwick United Methodist Church, also a lifetime member of the American Legion Post 273. He loved hunting, being a football fan, working on cars, gardening. He especially enjoyed time with family. He was preceded in death by a brother and surviving. His wife is 64 years, Shirley, 3 children, 5 grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren, and one of his brothers, Earl. Carl Hornberger. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by our man, John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny and milder, high 28. Great day to ski. And I've got to tell you, Montage Mountain bringing you this report Saturday and Sunday. And I was up there myself Saturday. All the skiers told me, and I said this to you last week, it ain't cold when you're skiing. Cutie said the same thing about Sunday when she went to ski. And she claims it's like riding a bike. And I saw film of her. Yeah, she knew what she was doing. Tonight, partly cloudy and cold. It's going to get down to 8. Tuesday, cloudy, 25. Wednesday, partly sunny, 25 degrees. And that's your weather. Brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resort. When I think weather, I think Montage. When I think Montage, I think weather. like that song. This day, 2019, I remember it. I was in prison, but I remember it somehow, some way. Panic at the Disco, number 6 on the Billboard charts, number 1 on the rock hits charts with their hit High Hopes. Bob Cordaro back with you on WILK. Let's go to Clive from Mountaintop on Ice. Hi, Clive. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, Bob. You know, the blame for this whole mess lies with Biden, Harris, and Mayorkas.
Oh, yeah.
All three should be charged with treason.
They should be in
Should
prison.
be charged with, they should be charged with treason, nothing less. And these so-called protesters in Minnesota are anything but. They're anarchists. They're modern-day Bolsheviks. And if they could, they would overthrow the government. And they're certainly trying to overthrow part of it, that being ICE and Homeland Security. And, you know, you can't, it's odd, I guess. ICE goes in other parts of the country. They were in New Orleans for an extended period of time, no problems. They just made a sweep through the entire state of West Virginia, no problems. It's these hardcore blue cities where the problems are. And maybe something that should be considered, pull out of these cities, let these illegal criminals there, and let the crime go on, and let these people stew in their own juices. If they don't want ICE in there to remove the criminals and the illegals, then fine, pull out.
Well, the problem is, the sentiments are understood, but the problem is, number one, it's the law and it's the obligation of ICE to do this, number one, and the president. Number two, people visit from elsewhere to go to places like Minneapolis, and they're at risk. Number three, people who vote and are normal in these places also deserve and need to be protected from these savages. And, unfortunately, the slime balls that are doing the protesting and the insurrection, the point is they need to be arrested, much more aggressively hauled in my view.
Oh, absolutely. They're interfering. They're assaulting federal officers, and they need to be arrested and charged.
Yep.
And no question about it. And I thought at one point it looked like Trump was going to bring in a brigade of the, can't remember what division is now, I think 11th Division in Fort Wainwright, Alaska, to restore order in Minneapolis. And it may still come to that. I don't know. And if it does, so be it.
I agree. I mean, you got to do these slime balls, these liars, these hypocrites, these phonies who are protesting against ICE, virtual signaling against ICE, against enforcement of the law, against criminals, have got to be slammed down. They just have to be. They cannot rule the roost. Can't be allowed.
Yes, I agree. And now we have another problem. You know, the Senate passed this bill to only extend funding for Homeland Security, which of course includes ICE, for 2 weeks. And it's going to be a battle royale in 2 weeks whenever the funding for Homeland Security and ICE runs out. I don't know why they did it. I guess they had their reasons, obviously.
Well,
but,
under reconciliation, they were allowed to fund departments that they were concerned might not get funded if the House or the Senate switched in 2 years. So they funded ICE in the big mediocre bill through 2028.
Right. That's exactly what happened. I understand.
Yeah.
But, you know, look at the big picture here. The Republicans control the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives.
Well, they don't control the Senate. They don't control the Senate. They do not. Without 60 votes, you do not control the Senate.
Well, that brings up another point. Maybe it's time for the filibuster to go.
No doubt.
And the 60
gotta go. It has to. It has to. And they'll do it. The left will do it if they take the Senate back. Guaranteed.
Oh, day one.
And people want results from the Republican Senate. They better deliver or it'll cost the whole country. Bloomberg says Picardo says it's 1150. It's bubblegum rock. I know, but remember that part. Let's see. Terry Jacks, Murph says, was moving up the charts with his Seasons in the Sun. We're going to finish with that as well. We want to thank our friends at Montage Mountain. I'm telling you, I was there Saturday. Cutie was there Sunday. I don't know. It's just got a great feel to it. You got to get up there. I don't even care if you don't ski or snowboard, which I don't. I got a bad knee, bad leg, just like the Bulldog. I can't. But absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The whole atmosphere. And I saw the license plates, New York, Maryland, all over the place, bringing people to Northeast Pennsylvania. Let's go to Gary from Mill City quickly. How are you, my friend?
Thanks for taking my call. Your friend Kyle that calls in, why doesn't he call in the morning show, the clown show, and talk to them? The people that listen to you are sort of common sense, and we really don't enjoy listening to Kyle's nonsense.
We enjoy hearing the other side, and it makes us feel smarter.
And talking about Minnesota and Kyle's point of view there, the last time I called in, I talked about we're getting what we sowed by law enforcement not enforcing laws over the years.
Yes.
Well, if they would have picked that woman up, if the cops would have been doing their job and protecting our ICE agents and arresting people that were interfering with them, the lady would have been in jail the day she was killed because she was interfering all morning long.
And the same thing with the other clown.
The same thing with the other guy.
He should have been arrested.
He should have been arrested.
Damaging government property. I mean, and by the way, his own parents said it. And I have not been able to substantiate it. There are reports that he wasn't working at the nursing home. And by the way, the left put out fake pictures of him helping to rehab veterans. Like, ridiculous. Believe me, they try to beatify each of these clowns.
If he would have been arrested the first day when he damaged that car, a federal vehicle,
yep,
he would have had his gun permit revoked, and he wouldn't have had his gun on him, and he would be alive today.
Yep.
So if the Minnesota and Minneapolis police were doing their jobs, rather than standing down and letting this happen, both of them would have been alive today. They can blame the left and their policies for both deaths.
Joe
Thanks
Biden.
for taking my call, Bob.
You're welcome. Thank you, Gary. Joe Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas, Kamala Harris, Democrat Party, aided and abetted the loss of those lives, manslaughter. And then the fools themselves require a lot of the blame, if not most of it. Well, certainly most of it, if not all of it. Again, when the cops are ready to raid someplace, try to stand in the middle of them. Tell me if that makes any sense and who would advise you. But to beatify these people and to tell me they weren't mentally ill at the time they were killed and during those protests, well, you're not watching very closely and you're ignoring fact, truth, and reality. Well, my Picardo's watch says it is noon, which means I have to go. But let me tell you, I want to do you a favor. Get your Valentine a great Picardo's gift. They're in Scranton, Spruce Street, Jefferson Avenue, catty corner to the Radisson. Rings, necklaces, earrings, bracelets, birthstones. They got it all for the perfect gift. All price points. Anybody can afford it. Do it right this Valentine's Day. Get it at Picardo's because they're the ones that tell me it's noon so you can listen to Sue Henry. Rob O'Donnell show after that. Guys, have a great afternoon. For now, I have to gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense and let you know, God willing, I'll be back here tomorrow. We'll get at it again. Have a great afternoon.